This address is to bring to the notice of our African brothers and sisters that a petition has been submitted to CAF directed to Mr. Patrick Musepe, the Confederation of African Football Chairman or President. The copy, you can see if it is clear, the letter is here. It has been submitted. This is a copy of it. It has been submitted by our legal team to the office of CAF, and this letter is requesting for South Africa to be suspended from every sports competition that has to do with the continent of Africa. South Africa has made it clear, the government of South Africa, through the youth, they have made it clear that they don't need any association with Africans. And we want to make it also clear that the rest of us, the African nations, we are better off without South Africa. I don't see any value or extra value that South Africa is adding to the African continent. There is nothing that South Africa has that cannot be found in Ghana. There is nothing South Africa can offer to Africa that cannot be found multiple times in Nigeria. There is nothing that you can find in South Africa that you can't see in Kenya, in Uganda, Mozambique, Angola, Botswana, Cape Verde. Africa is blessed, and we are blessed without South Africa. Somehow, I am beginning to consider that our fathers who contributed, who joined energy and efforts to South Africans in fighting for their freedom, I am beginning to believe that they were either deceived or they were ignorant of who South Africans were exactly. The actions of South Africans against our African brothers and sisters in South Africa has shown the true character of the black South Africans. And maybe, just maybe, a part of them or a side of them that our African fathers did not see, that the white folks in South Africa saw, that warranted the actions that was meted against them, which is not a justification, because we also know that there are prominent and respectable men, people like Sir Nelson Mandela, who believed in true Africa. But from what South Africa has done in 2026, in this generation, this 21st century, it is very, very clear that the average South African is actually not a true African. And I can also tell you that the impression the white folks, our Western counterparts, had about Africa in the past could be as a result of the behavior and character from the people of South Africa. Because if South African youth, not even the elders, if the youth of South Africa of today can be this barbaric, can be this callous, can be this wicked against their own African brothers and sisters, then I can tell you that these people 20, 30, 40 years ago can consume human flesh. These behaviors from these South African young men and women can only portray a people with a heart without conscience. And I tell you, it is a good thing that we have seen the true color of average South Africa. Because you cannot separate this youth from the government of South Africa. Because I'm still looking at South African government, I'm looking at the elders, I'm looking at the men and the leaders of South Africa. And I can tell you, both from the words and body languages, they are actually affirming the actions of these charlatans. In 2026, a behavior that not even the Western world have done against our African people. Immigration challenges. Every normal adult in the world today understands that every nation faces it. There is no country in the world today that is not facing this issue of migration, illegal migration, legal migration, border challenges. But there is a system to handle it, which is why we are civilized people, which is why we are human beings. There are institutions that are managing it, and that is what every nation is doing. Better still, reform the policies, immigration policies, just to manage the crisis and challenges facing movement of people. But today, young people of South Africa decided to show their true color against our own people in South Africa. Our own people living in South Africa. Many of them living legitimately, lawfully. Because it takes legitimate stay for you to open a business, rent a shop and open a business. I doubt if there is any illegal migrant that can open a shop and open a business and even employ people. Of course, maybe illegal in the process of coming in, but maybe legalize and legitimize the stay. But what happened? They decided to take laws into their hand and go after our people, our brothers and sisters, in the manner they did. Killing the ones they killed, taking lives, destroying, humiliating, worst of it all, humiliating them publicly for no known crime. No. We will not overlook it. Therefore, we have welcomed our people home in Nigeria, and I'm sure every country have welcomed their own citizens. And today, we have petitioned to CAF. South African people said that they need time to stay alone and fix their country. And we are requesting from CAF to honor that request. You will give them time to fix their country. And during that period, they have requested that they don't want anything with the African brothers and sisters. We, the rest of the Africans, we are also requesting that within this period of fixing their country, we do not want to have anything with them. Sports in Africa brings nations together in Africa, and that is what every nation, every continental competition does. In Africa, we have our continental competitions in sports, both male and female. And that brings about people moving from one nation to another. And they don't just go with only the players, they also go with supporters. And of course, the nationals of that country in the host country will also come out in mass to support their team. And of course, from the position of South Africa today, there is no team that will be safe going to South Africa for any kind of competition. And if at all the team will be safe, what about the supporters? Which supporter will want to go with the team to South Africa? And then, the other way around, South Africa will not only be playing host, they will also need to travel to other nations, including Nigeria, maybe Ghana, maybe Kenya, maybe Uganda, maybe Mozambique. And which of these nations haven't seen what they did to their brothers and sisters before sending them home? Which of these nations will host South African players and their supporters peacefully? Of course, my country, Nigeria, is never a guaranteed thing. And I don't think any other country will guarantee such. So, for the safety of the South Africans and their teams, and for the safety of every other country and their teams to go into South Africa, it is best for both parties that South Africa be suspended from any continental competition. Let them remain in their country, and let us all remain in our nations. We would be our African, as an African continent, we will be our brothers and sisters who will do our competitions without South Africa. We will not want to, and we want to repeat it as a matter of emphasis. We don't want to have anything with South Africa until they finish fixing their country. And everybody knows that fixing a nation doesn't take 5 years, doesn't take 10, doesn't take 15, maybe 20, maybe 25, maybe 30. And we request that South Africa be made to stay alone until they conclude fixing their country. We, the rest of African nations, we will be fixing our countries, and we will remain brothers and sisters with our neighbors. Fixing our country has nothing to do with hosting our brothers from other African nations. But them that think they will need to be alone to fix their country, we will grant them their wish. And we are telling you, CAF, you must honor this our request. You are for Africa, not for South Africa. And the African nations are telling you now, we don't want to have South Africa in our competitions. We don't want to host South Africa in our countries, and we don't want South Africa hosting us in their country for any competition soever till further notice.